Hey friends, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, my name is Jen, and today I am going to show you how to make a garden fresh green tomato salsa. Now, as you can see here, after making a little trip to my garden, I have a ton of green tomatoes. And I harvested some of these very green, not just because I wanted to make this salsa, but because we've been getting a ton of rain every evening and I don't really want my tomatoes to crack. We had a really hot, dry spell, and now we're getting a lot of water, and homegrown tomatoes will crack on the vine if they get an influx of water. So I figured I could get two birds with one stone today by going ahead and picking them and making this really yummy salsa. Now, if you're not a gardener, that's not a problem at all because usually this time of year, when tomatoes are in season, you can find green tomatoes at just about every grocery store. And even if your local grocery store isn't carrying green tomatoes, they are probably going to be really easy to find if you check your local farmers markets or even farm share programs. And if you have a neighbor that happens to garden, you might even consider seeing if they would be willing to sell you some of their green tomatoes. And if you live close to an Amish or Mennonite community, check inside of their stores because I know that the Mennonite community for sure sells green tomatoes by the bushel this time of year. So let me get these washed up and we will move on to making our salsa. Now, as always, I will leave the recipe in the description box below. Today, I'm just loosely following my own recipe because my tomatoes are of all different sizes. But if you have medium-sized tomatoes, you're going to need about 5 or 6. And obviously, if you want a bunch of salsa to freeze or refrigerate to use later, you can double this recipe, no problem. Now, all I'm doing at this point is just removing the stem portion of the tomato. I'm cutting them in half, and any of the larger tomatoes I have, I go ahead and cut into quarters. This is just because I'm not really baking my vegetables. They're just going to go under the broiler until they're soft and a little bit charred. So I want to make sure that everything is pretty close to the same size and that I have removed any bad spots on these guys as well. I'm not going to be removing the skin on my tomatoes. If that bothers you after you've roasted your vegetables, you can totally take the skin off. But this isn't a canning recipe. There are a couple of approved canning recipes for green tomato salsa. And if you make just like Ball's salsa verde recipe, I wrote them and you can actually substitute green tomatoes for tomatillos if you don't have enough tomatillos to do the job. But for this, we're just making this for fresh eating and for some for me to put in the freezer for taco night or something a little later down the line. I did happen to have a few tomatillos that were ready in the garden, so I'm not going to cut those. I'm just going to throw those directly on the tray. Now, as for my jalapenos, you can absolutely split these and then remove the seeds and the ribs from these, but I want my salsa to be spicy. So all I'm going to do is slice these in half long ways and put them directly on the tray, skin side up. If you do not like spice, you can use less jalapenos and you can remove the seeds to make it a little more palatable for your taste. Once I get my jalapenos on, I'm just going to take a large white onion and I'm going to chop it into about the same size pieces that my tomatoes are. Like I said before, I want everything to kind of be soft all at the same time and just, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just cut them down to manageable pieces. And then the original recipe for this calls for 1 clove of garlic, but my garlic is pretty small, so I'm using like 3 or 4. But again, it's all about what you prefer. If you want more garlic, you can put more garlic in this. If you want less, you can use less. And I'm just going to throw these whole cloves directly onto this pan to roast with everything else. If you do not have any fresh garlic, you can just add garlic powder at the end when you're blending it up. So don't stress out, just use what you have. Once I get everything all cut up and put on my baking sheet, I'm going to give it a little drizzle with some avocado oil, not a lot, just enough to keep everything from sticking to the bottom of the pan. And then I am going to go ahead and salt it now. That way, if there's any excess liquid, the salt will help the vegetables let go of some of that liquid for blending later. And I'm just going to pop this in my oven underneath the broiler for about 6 to 8 minutes until the tops of the tomatoes start to char. Once my vegetables have started to char, as you can see here, they're not charred black, they just have a little bit of color on them. I'm going to go through with my tongs and just turn everything over. And once I've done that, then everything is going to go right back in under the broiler for about another 6 to 8 minutes or until everything is soft. When you press on the tops of your green tomatoes, they should have some give to them. They should not still be rock hard. So just keep an eye on your, tray of veggies. Everybody's oven is different. So once they're done and everything's nice and soft, I'm just going to let this tray sit here until everything cools off. Now you can put this right in your blender, but I prefer not to put scorching hot things in the blender. They have a tendency to kind of erupt out of the top. So I'm going to let this sit until it's cooled off and I can actually touch the pan without burning my fingers. And then we're going to get this blended up. And thanks to a lovely angel, Misty, I no longer have to fight that horrible fight with that old blender of mine. She gifted me this beautiful, high-powered blender, and man, does it do work. So I'm just going to drop all of my tomatoes and peppers and everything else that's on this tray directly into this blender. Now, if you end up with a bunch of liquid in the bottom of your tray, go ahead and pour that in with it. It will just help your salsa to blend up a little easier, and it adds quite a bit of flavor. All of the juices that come out of your peppers and onions, that all has flavor. So I didn't have a ton of liquid in the bottom of my pan, so I just added everything as it was. Now, if you don't have a blender, you can absolutely do this in a food processor. You just may have to do it in batches. If you don't have a food processor, you can chop all of this up on a cutting board and then take a potato masher to it. Your salsa may be a little chunkier, but it'll still get the job done. Now to my blender, I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of lime juice. I didn't have any fresh limes, so I'm using the green container. It's fine. It all works. And then I'm going to go ahead and blitz this up. Now there's a little bit of a learning curve on this new blender. My old one would have taken ages. This one just zipped this stuff into liquid in no time. So if you want your salsa chunkier, definitely just pulse it until you get it to the consistency that you want it to be. As you can see here, I ended up with a very smooth salsa. I'm okay with that. This is more like restaurant style. And once I get that all blended up, I'm going to add 2 bundles of cilantro. I'm not even going to take this off the stems. It's all going to blend. I'm adding stems and all because stems have flavor. If you don't like cilantro, obviously, like I always tell you, just leave it out if you are part of the soap crew. You can add some parsley if you want a little extra flavor. Now the next 2 seasonings are totally optional as well, but I added about a hefty teaspoon of coriander and cumin. I like the way that makes my salsa taste, but if you don't like those, you don't have to put them in there. I'm also going to add about a teaspoon of black pepper as well. Once I have all that in there, I'm just going to blitz it up again until the cilantro is nice and chopped up. There will still be a little texture from the cilantro, which I like, but if you don't want to have any little pieces of cilantro floating around in your salsa, just let it go a little longer. Now, my youngest wanted to have this as a snack, so I'm just going to serve this up with some blue corn tortilla chips and put the salsa right in the middle and let her have her little chips and dip. However, I did make quite a bit of this salsa, and the lovely part about it is that it stores well in the refrigerator and it also freezes and thaws really well. So, green tomatoes are very seasonal. So you could absolutely make a huge batch of this and then put it into some freezer safe storage containers and store it so that you could enjoy this salsa throughout the fall and winter time until it's time to plant tomatoes again. Now for freezer storage, I like to use these plastic restaurant cups. And as you can see here, I ended up with enough left over after her snack to fill an entire quart container. So that's fine. It will get used up. I have absolutely no worries about that. I have a large family and they all like salsa. So I just labeled the lid and that's going to go directly into the freezer until I'm ready to use it. So I really hope that you guys give this salsa a try. Let me know if you liked it. Did you tweak the seasonings at all? How did you change this to suit your palate? And until next time, friends, happy cooking.
You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here